When installing a 2000 amp service, the question of whether you can mix cables from different manufacturers arises. Generally, electrical installations benefit from using cables from a single manufacturer to ensure consistency and compatibility. However, mixing manufacturers might be acceptable under specific conditions, subject to the approval of your local electrical inspector. It is very important to consult the local electrical inspector, especially if the cable has already been purchased. The inspector will assess the specific situation, review the installation plans, and consider the relevant electrical codes. The National Electrical Code, NEC, and local codes set the standards for safe electrical installations, and the inspector ensures compliance. Several criteria must be met if you intend to use cables from different manufacturers. Firstly, the cable type and size must be identical. For example, if you're using 500 kc multi-HHN wire from one manufacturer, the other cable must also be 500 kc multi-HHN. This ensures that the current carrying capacity and other electrical characteristics are consistent. Secondly, the insulation and jacket materials must be compatible. Incompatible materials can lead to bonding issues, premature degradation, and potential safety hazards. Ensure that the materials used are designed to work together safely and effectively. Thirdly, the cables must meet all applicable code requirements. This includes adherence to the NEC and any local electrical codes that may have additional requirements. Check the cable specifications against the code requirements to confirm compliance. Fourthly, the cables must be properly labeled and identified. The manufacturer's information, cable specifications, and any relevant certification should be clearly visible on the cable. This allows the inspector to verify that the cables meet the necessary standards. The inspector may require additional documentation or testing to verify the compatibility and safety of the installation. Be prepared to provide any information that the inspector requests, such as cable specifications, test reports, or manufacturer certifications. The NEC provides guidelines for conductor and capacity installation methods and other critical aspects of electrical installations. For example, NEC Table 310.16 provides ampacity ratings for conductors based on insulation type and temperature rating. Ensure that the cables you are using are suitable for the intended application and meet the ampacity requirements of the code. Another important consideration is voltage drop. Excessive voltage drop can lead to inefficient operation of electrical equipment and potential safety hazards. The NEC provides guidelines for minimizing voltage drop, and you should ensure that your installation complies with these guidelines. Grounding and bonding are also critical aspects of electrical safety. The NEC specifies requirements for grounding and bonding to ensure that electrical equipment is properly grounded and that fault currents can safely return to the source. Verify that your installation includes proper grounding and bonding connections. When working with large conductors such as 500 kcmil, proper installation techniques are essential. Use the correct tools and equipment to ensure that connections are tight and secure. Follow the manufacturer's instructions for cable terminations and splices. Before starting the installation, it's advisable to conduct a thorough inspection of the cables to identify any defects or damage. Check for cuts, abrasions, or other signs of damage that could compromise the integrity of the cable. If you find any damaged cables, do not use them. Proper cable management is also important. Ensure that cables are properly supported and protected from physical damage. Use cable trays, conduits, or other appropriate methods to route and support the cables. Avoid running cables in areas where they could be exposed to excessive heat, moisture, or chemicals. The NEC provides specific requirements for cable installations in different environments. For example, cables installed in wet locations must be suitable for wet locations. Cables installed in hazardous locations must be approved for use in these locations. Always follow the NEC guidelines for cable installations in specific environments. When making connections, use the correct type of connectors and fittings. Ensure that the connectors are compatible with the cable size and type. Tighten connections to the proper torque specifications to ensure a secure and reliable connection. Over-tightening can damage the cable or connector, while under-tightening can lead to loose connections and potential hazards. After completing the installation, conduct a thorough inspection to verify that all connections are tight and secure. Use a torque wrench to tighten connections to the proper specifications. Check for any signs of damage or stress on the cables or connectors. If you find any issues, correct them immediately. Testing is also an important part of the installation process. Use a multimeter or other testing equipment to verify that the voltage and current are within the proper ranges. Check for any ground faults or short circuits. If you find any electrical problems, troubleshoot them and correct them before energizing the system. Documentation is essential for any electrical installation. Keep a record of all cable specifications, test results, and inspection reports. This documentation will be helpful for future maintenance and troubleshooting. Also, it's a good practice to label all cables and connections clearly. Use cable markers or labels to identify the cable size, type, and circuit number. This will make it easier to trace circuits and identify cables in the future. Safety is paramount when working with electrical systems. Always to energize circuits before working on them. Use appropriate personal protective equipment such as gloves, safety glasses, and insulated tools. Follow all safety procedures and precautions to prevent electrical shock or other injuries. The NEC requires that all electrical work be performed by qualified individuals. If you are not qualified to perform electrical work, hire a licensed electrician to do the job. Electrical work can be dangerous, and it's important to have the knowledge and skills to do it safely. In summary, while it might be possible to use cables from different manufacturers in a 2000 amp service installation, it depends on several factors. Firstly, the cables must be of the same type and size. Secondly, the insulation and jacket materials must be compatible. Thirdly, the cables must meet all applicable code requirements. Fourthly, the cables must be properly labeled and identified. Additionally, you must consult with your local electrical inspector before proceeding with the installation. The inspector will review the specific situation and make a final determination. Adhering to these guidelines will help ensure a safe and compliant electrical installation. Remember that electrical codes and regulations can vary depending on your location. Always consult with your local authorities to ensure compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. It is also important to consider the long-term reliability and performance of the electrical system. Using cables from different manufacturers can potentially introduce inconsistencies or compatibility issues that could affect the system's performance over time. Weigh the potential benefits of using different manufacturers' cables against the potential risks. In some cases, it may be more prudent to use cables from a single manufacturer to ensure long-term reliability. Also consider the impact on future maintenance and repairs. If the cables are from different manufacturers, it may be more difficult to troubleshoot problems or make repairs in the future. Ensure that you have adequate documentation and information about each cable type to facilitate future maintenance. Consider the environmental conditions in which the cables will be installed. Some cables are designed for specific environmental conditions such as extreme temperatures, moisture, or exposure to chemicals. Ensure that the cables you choose are suitable for the intended environment. Consult with the cable manufacturers to determine the appropriate cable types for your specific application. Remember that electrical installations are complex systems, and it's important to consider all aspects of the installation to ensure safety and reliability. Take the time to plan the installation carefully, select the appropriate materials, and follow all applicable codes and regulations. If you are unsure about any aspect of the installation, consult with a qualified electrical professional. They can provide guidance and assistance to ensure that the installation is done correctly and safely. In addition to the NEC, other standards and guidelines may apply to your electrical installation. For example, the National Fire Protection Association (NFPA) publishes standards for electrical safety in the workplace. Ensure that you are familiar with all applicable standards and guidelines. It's also important to stay up to date on the latest electrical codes and regulations. Electrical codes are constantly evolving to reflect new technologies and safety practices. Attend training courses and seminars to stay informed about the latest changes. Continuous learning is essential for electrical professionals to ensure that they are providing safe and reliable electrical services. Also, consider the cost of using different manufacturers' cables. In some cases, it may be more expensive to use cables from different manufacturers due to the need for additional testing or documentation. Weigh the cost of using different manufacturers' cables against the potential benefits. In some cases, it may be more cost-effective to use cables from a single manufacturer. Furthermore, the availability of cables from different manufacturers can vary. Ensure that the cables you need are readily available before starting the installation. Shortages or delays in cable availability can disrupt the installation process. Consider the warranty implications of using different manufacturers' cables. Some manufacturers may not warrant the cables if they are used in conjunction with cables from other manufacturers. Check the warranty terms and conditions before proceeding with the installation. Proper planning and preparation are essential for any electrical installation. Take the time to plan the installation carefully, select the appropriate materials, and follow all applicable codes and regulations. This will help ensure a safe and reliable electrical installation. Remember that electrical installations are not a do-it-yourself project. If you are not qualified to perform electrical work, hire a licensed electrician to do the job. Electrical work can be dangerous, and it's important to have the knowledge and skills to do it safely. Also, consider the environmental impact of your electrical installation. Use energy-efficient products and practices to minimize your environmental footprint. Dispose of waste materials properly and recycle whenever possible. Sustainability is an important consideration for all electrical installations. Consider the aesthetic appearance of your electrical installation. Use aesthetically pleasing materials and practices to enhance the visual appeal of your building. Electrical installations can be functional and attractive at the same time. Remember that electrical installations are a long-term investment. Choose high-quality materials and practices to ensure that your electrical system will last for many years to come. Proper maintenance and upkeep are also essential for long-term reliability. Lastly, consider the safety of your family and the public. Follow all safety procedures and precautions to prevent electrical shock or other injuries. Electrical safety is paramount for all electrical installations.